Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to talk about what is goodwill, how it's attributed to a business, how people sort of can calculate it, and what it means to your business when it comes time to selling. Now, some forms of goodwill can actually harm the value of your business and decrease it when it goes onto market. So if that's something that is it of interest and you want to understand goodwill a little bit more, then stick around and watch this short video. So one of the things I often hear is from a vendor is, I never advertise and we're always busy. Usually it comes across in a sort of a proud type of manner, and rightly so. And it's a great, it does mean you're doing something right if you have a lot of word of mouth referrals. But when it comes time to selling your business, this will actually devalue your business because you'll be taking the goodwill away with you when you leave. So the term goodwill is generally misunderstood or misrepresented when attributing value to a business. What it does is goodwill allows for a sort of a numeral representation of value for a sort of an intangible asset for the business. However, that's probably where a lot of people then get a bit caught up because it's too general of a definition or an understanding, especially for a business owner, let alone, brokers or accountants or the market itself. So to understand goodwill a little bit further, you can break it down into three types of goodwill. One is commercial goodwill, the second is locational goodwill, and the third is personal goodwill. Now, some businesses and companies, corporations, can enjoy a mix of all three, but usually it's a lot more in one, maybe two out of the three, and not all three. So firstly, commercial, by far the most valuable, and it takes a long time to build this up. So I think notable brands like, say, McDonald's, BMW, Riviera, Toyota, big, large brands like that, in the sense of if you were to take McDonald's, usually they're in high visibility locations, but if you were to take it down in an obscure location and just put the two arches up on the side of the road with an arrow, everyone's going to know what's there, and it will probably drive traffic. That's all it needs to do. Now, with taking that example, if you put any other type of business up there that had no commercial goodwill, then no one's going to know what's going on with it, or what that business is about. So that's an example of commercial goodwill. It's basically the brands, it's why Kodak was able to be sold once it lost the battle through to smartphones, and same with Nokia. Those companies both got sold on. They weren't making any money. They were probably losing a stack of money, but they still were able to get a significant amount for the sale of those businesses. Okay, the second one is locational goodwill. Now, this can be still quite valuable, but it does not have the leverage of commercial goodwill. So think of, say, I'm not sure where you are in Australia, but maybe a service station or a service center, the big ones that are next to a really busy freeway or motorway. Assuming it's a BP, it's going to be really, really busy for where it is. Now, if that BP was an Ampol or a Shell, it would still probably be just as busy because it's more tied to that location. If you put that huge service center or BP somewhere else, I mean, it does carry commercial goodwill as well, but it will be significantly less valuable than the place where it holds that location because the trade is sort of tied to that location. Another example could be a lesser known brand that was just had a busy cafe or a shop on a busy foot traffic store. If that shop was moved and put somewhere else in a quiet town, well, it would lose a lot of trade, people wouldn't know about it, and probably people wouldn't hunt it out unless it had developed some commercial goodwill as well. So it's sort of those juice bars or sandwich shops that are right next to a bus stop, for example, in the cities. That's a good way to sort of leverage some locational goodwill. Now, the only problem with the locational goodwill is that the revenue generated at that location is fixed to that location. So the value of the goodwill could be reduced if that location is at risk. So if we're looking at a business and we're valuing that business and we note that maybe there's only 2 years left in the lease, then it significantly reduces what that business can be worth because you can take that business and put it somewhere else, but it loses that locational aspect. Now, lastly is personal goodwill. And this is usually what's involved with small businesses and those that don't advertise much. So by far, it's the hardest to sell, and it can easily reduce the actual value of the business. Say if that same business was making $250,000, but it was generating that through advertising. No one really knew the owners. No one really knew, who's working there. It would actually fetch a higher price than, even though it has a marketing spend, than the business that does no marketing at all. And this is because the diminished market value of sort of what personal goodwill brings is because the business's future success is too reliant on the owner's network and their reputation. So it's really good for the day-to-day running of the business, but it does harm your business when it comes time to sell. To say it succinctly in another way, any advisor would be telling a potential buyer is the business's future ability to generate the revenue or the income that it has demonstrated the last few years will be severely affected once you leave, once the seller leaves the business altogether. And as a result, the sale value of that business is reduced. So, I mean, it really is, it's the age-old saying, there's two sides to every coin. What you think, well, what could be helping your business in the operations or the day-to-day is actually harming your business when it comes time to exit. Now, hopefully that was actually a good sort of insight into goodwill. As I said, it's very misunderstood. But if you would like to know more about what's sort of involved with selling your business, or how much you could expect to be on the market, or some of the small things that you could do to help prepare your business for sale, then get in touch. You can email me on the details, either through on this site or my website, wherever you're watching this. I'll be more than happy to help you become clear about what the next steps you need to take to successfully exiting your business for the maximum value in good time. And until then, keep building that business. I'm Mick Godwin. Thanks for watching.